Today I want to look at the FN Reflex and the Shield Plus, compare and contrast the two, and then at the end, tell you which one I like the best and why. Now this is a little unfair because these two guns are actually pretty close. So the way I've broken this video down is into 5 big sections, so that way, hopefully by the time we get to that 5th one, I can tell you which one I think is the better option as of right now. We're going to talk size, features, triggers, shootability, and adaptability in that order. So make sure you stick around to the end where I will tell you which one I think is the best and why. If there's anything I miss, I actually have individual reviews on both of these guns, both of which I will link down below. The FN Reflex is the new kid on the block, so let's go ahead and look at the size of the gun. We will weigh them here in a minute, but if you look at the slide to slide difference, there ain't much. If we look at them this way, there ain't much. Now the Reflex is an 11 round gun and the Shield is a 10 round gun. Interesting enough, I don't even have the flat base plate on this gun, so this thing is going to be even shorter with that flat base plate. I kind of like this option because it gives you a little bit more to hold on to there. Regardless, man, for the size to weight to capacity ratio, the FN Reflex is really good. Now, the smallest carry gun would make sense that, hey, you would, hey, you want the smallest and lightest carry gun, right? That can affect the shooting, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But if we weigh them, let's make sure we get zeroed out here, which we are. FN Reflex, 1 pound, 2 ounces. Shield Plus, both these are empty, 1 pound, 4 ounces. So you have a couple of ounces difference. If you've never concealed carry, especially inside the waistband before, you may look at that and be like, oh, what's the big deal? Couple ounces here, couple ounces there makes a huge difference inside the waistband, okay? But overall, their size is pretty similar, so let's move to some of the features that each one of these guns possess. FN Reflex. Front and rear slide serrations. These serrations are cut deeply into the slide. They're easily accessible, so if you want to do press checks, you can do that. You also have a Picatinny rail. You have that bright front dot there in the front. You have the white dots in the rear, more of a U-notch style rear cutout. Slide stop right there. Takedown lever, magazine release, which is reversible. Again, 11 round mag. You have a semi-aggressive grip texturing on there. So this is something that FN does a lot. You have like the texturing on the side, and then you have these aggressive little squares on the front and back strap right there. So it gives you a pretty decent purchase, man. When you have a small gun like this in your hand, any handgun really, you want to be able to get a good solid purchase on there. You can see your viewport right there, so you can see your brass down in the chamber. And as far as left-handed features, not too many. Now you do have a shelf back here too, so if you need to manipulate this one-handed, you can do that. The Shield Plus, on the other hand, you have front and rear slide serrations. One thing I don't like that they do, they're still using the fish scale style. And I've talked about this before. I think the serrations on like the competitor are superior to this, but regardless, that's what we have right now. And it's a little bit harder to do those press checks with this gun because there's not much to grip onto there. So that's one of the differences. You also don't have a rail in the front. So, let's say you want to put a light or a laser or anything on your carry gun, or you're using this because it's your only gun, so it's your carry gun, your home defense gun, whatever. It's going to be a little bit harder to get this set up as opposed to the FN Reflex with a light or a laser. You can do it, but typically those options are going to be more expensive as well. You have a standard set of white dots on the front, white dots on the rear, more of a squared off notch in the rear, viewport right there so you can see your brass down in the chamber. Not as aggressive of a texturing, but I've never noticed where this gun just wants to kind of fly out of your hand. So it's actually a pretty good balance, and it's going to probably be a little easier on your skin or your undershirt when you carry this, because sometimes when you get overly aggressive, it can be uncomfortable as that grip is kind of sitting in your pants like this and rubbing up against your shirt, or even worse, your skin. Both guns, the magazines come out decently. I like for those things to just shoot right out of the gun. I know that sounds kind of weird, but regardless, they don't just stay, you know, stuck in the gun. They actually do work their way out, so that's pretty cool. Neither one of these guns, by the way, has a backstrap option, so you're pretty much stuck with what you got unless you put some kind of grip tape or something like that on there. Let's move to the next thing, which is the triggers. This is pretty interesting because they approach this in a little bit different way. The Shield Plus has, you know, they have gone through so many iterations of their triggers, and now they have the best one yet. It's a flat face trigger. You have a dingus in the middle. You get to the wall, boom, breaks, reset, right there. Fantastic trigger on this gun. That's going to help us in our next section here that we're looking at. The FN Reflex is no slouch though, but they use an internally hammer-fired gun, so think Shield EZ or even the Equalizer, right? Oh, my bad. It is pretty light. So what you do, you get to the wall. You got to pull this back all the way too, by the way. Reset that hammer. So you get to the wall, boom, it breaks. Super predictable. Reset, a little bit longer, right? But this is what I want out of a carry gun. I don't need the lightest trigger. I don't want the lightest trigger. I just want a predictable, clean, crisp break. If it's 6 pounds, if it's 5 pounds, that's about where I don't want to go any lower than that for a carry gun. Both of these guns excel in the triggers they put on them. I mean, look, you have a smaller gun. It's going to be harder to shoot anyways. Why not put the best possible trigger that you can in a gun? Both of these companies decided, hey, we're going to put really good triggers in these guns. As a matter of fact, when it comes to, I say striker fire guns, but the FN 509, your 510s, your 502s, well, the 502 is a hammer fire gun, but regardless, when it comes to this style trigger, it's the best one that I've felt in an FN gun yet, which is crazy. Because their 509 and stuff is much larger than this gun. Actually, let me show you that. So this is the 509 Tactical. You see they have that hinged trigger design. Not a fan of it at all. You get to the wall and it breaks. It's not awful. Reset. It's just much heavier than what it needs to be. If they have to go with an internally hammer-fired gun, this is the way to go on the Reflex. Smith & Wesson, kind of the same deal. They used to have this hinged design, and it's not the greatest. But it's better and more shootable than like the FN 509. Some people may shoot the 509 just fine, but I think them going this direction and really improving those triggers straight from the factory is really good, because I don't really mess with triggers a whole lot in any of my guns. So it's nice when the company straight from the factory gets it right, and both these guys get it right. Let's go to the range to see how that translates though. All right, the OG Shield Plus. Who's going to argue with that for a carry gun? Not me. Oh, penis target. Man, this thing is incredible, dude. How many times I gotta say it? Yeah, it's a little snappy. All these guns are gonna be snappy. I mean, it just is what it is, but it shoots so good. Shoots like a bigger gun, great mag compatibility. Out here at the range, this is a gun I trust my life with 100%. I'm gonna call those top two outliers. By the way, I was waiting on my son. I got camera. I got both my sons checking cameras and spraying targets. It's makes it a heck of a lot easier, I'll say that. All right, 15 round mag. I need some more work with this one, boys. Ouch. Yeah, okay, so my job didn't get too much easier there. One thing I'll say, both of them are fantastic shooters for what they are. I haven't spent nearly enough time with the FN Reflex, or nearly as much time as I have with the Shield Plus. I think I said Reflex, but Reflex, you know what I'm saying. I have Reflex, this is the Reflex. One thing I will say is I prefer the sights on this gun. I prefer that squared off look as opposed to the U-notch. I don't like it on the Hellcat. I don't like it, you know, on any gun at all, really. I just much prefer that squared off look in the rear. Regardless, for what they are, both of them did a fantastic job. I think with a little bit more time, I'm going to be able to get this thing as good as the Shield Plus as far as my accuracy. Last thing we'll talk about, adaptability and really comfort as far as concealability. I don't have a holster yet for this one. I can't speak too much on this specific gun, but look, it's so close to this one. I've carried this one more than any other gun over the past couple years, and it is super comfortable. Good gun belt, good holster, links down below to both of those things. If you're familiar with my channel, you know exactly what I'll say. If you're not, I'll leave a discount code and link to those things for y'all, okay? If I happen to forget, just let me know in the comments and I'll make sure I put them there, because I do forget from time to time. But regardless, good gun belt, good holster. Both these guns are going to carry very well. This one might be a little bit easier because, you know, it's a little bit lighter and it's a little bit shorter with the flat base plate on there. But they can be adaptable for people with bigger hands too, because they both come with extended magazines. So this one, 15 rounds right there. So if you're not a fan of that overall short grip, you got way bigger hands, I would think that most people can take this now because it pretty much has a full-size grip and really feel comfortable with this. The Shield Plus is going to edge it out a little bit in that department, and I'll show you why. You have your 10 round, you have your 13 round. It's going to be a little bit easier to carry than the 15 round option, but you have all three of those that you can go off of. And they feel very similar in the hand. I think this one feels a little bit smaller, kind of right in here. So if you have even bigger hands, it may cause you to overcompensate with that, you know, with your trigger finger. It really depends on you and your size hands, where I think the Reflex kind of fills that area out a little bit better, but not really a whole lot, actually. they are so freaking close, man. And so that's where it comes down to which one I like the best and why. Shield Plus, got it. Of course, you know, taking extra shots with it too. When it comes to accuracy, Shield Plus in my hands. When it comes to concealability, FN Reflex, Shield Plus. got some snap to it in the hand for sure. When it comes to this year's carry guns, the Reflex has impressed me the most, right? There's some carry guns that I've done that I wanted to really like, but I didn't. This one hits on all points. And by the way, you can get both of these optics ready. This was the very first one I seen, and so that's why I went with it. But even like the Shield Plus here, you can get it optics ready, or you can go with the Performance Center right there. As you can see, I took the optic off because I had a crimson trace on it. But regardless, both of them, you can get optics ready. The Shield Plus has been out longer, so you're going to get options like this one where it has a 4-inch barrel. So there's different configurations, and I think when it comes to adaptability, the Shield Plus is going to edge it out a little bit simply because, well, based on time, it's just been out longer. And that's really where I'm at with it, man. I like both of these guns. I think the Reflex is a true competitor to your P365s, your Shield Plus. I think it's better than the Glock 43X. It's more shootable than the 43X too, by the way. But I trust the Shield Plus more. I've used it longer. And so I think if I were to come at this from a brand new perspective, never had shot either one of these guns, I got to go with the one that I shoot the best and the one I feel the most comfortable with now. But if I just came into this review, never shot either one of them, I'd say the effing Reflex, because you get the rail, you get, a couple more options than you do with the Shield Plus just straight from the factory. You get better serrations in the front. You get better sights stock on the gun. But, and this is a big but, I just trust the Shield Plus more at this point. Things are always bound to change, and so that's why I always will take these guns, review them, we'll do a 1,000-round update, and see what changes from there. So there you go, man. There's my opinion on the FN Reflex and the Shield Plus. I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. Which one do you like the best and why? Let me know. If you want to support the channel, you can join us through Patreon or join the channel right here, man. We got an awesome community. I'd love for you to be a part of it. Click the link in the description or the little card somewhere right in here or right in here. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them dope.